Hi, it's Baz at GotAUkulele again, straight up with another instrument review, and as you can see, this one is quite a good looker that has been on test with me for quite a few weeks now, courtesy of the very good guys at Omega Music in the UK, who sent this to me for a test because it was new. It's a brand that I'd not heard of before. Well, I had heard of them before. They make stringed instruments, but I'd not heard of them making ukuleles before. They're from Bulgaria in Eastern Europe, so it's not a Chinese uke, and it's by a company called Kremona, and this is the Kremona Coco Tenor ukulele. They do make some others, but this is, I think, top of their line. You'd think that the minute you ship ukulele production out of the Far East that they're going to be incredibly expensive, and this is a fully solid wood uke. But no, this is £349, so it's up there at the more expensive of the intermediate levels, but there's plenty of Chinese ukes that are more expensive than this, so I think it's a good price. So, first up, the looks. This is a solid cedar top, and it is pretty striking, but it gets even more striking when I turn it around and show you the contrast between the top and the back and sides, because this is nice, stripy, Indian rosewood, all solid on the back, all solid on the sides. It's impeccably put together. It's finished in a satin finish, which I've seen nicer satin finishes. It's kind of like the Kala satin finishes, feels a bit plasticky, but it is real wood, I can assure you. We've got lovely grain pattern in the solid cedar top, which is nice and thin when I look on the sides, so it's a decent instrument. But I'm a real fan of instrument makers who try to do things a little differently to the norm, and there's plenty of differences on this uke compared to the increasing number of brands that are coming through who seem to just follow the same pattern. Most striking of all probably is this oval shape sound hole, which I think is fantastic. These quarter decoration pieces are inlaid in wood, in what I think is maple, and this is rosewood. But you know, other details. We have a bridge mounting, which is a different shape. I like that. The saddle itself is made of bone, which is good to see. These are Aquila strings. What else? But you know, you've got other detailing. You've got your normal sort of brown, white, brown stripe binding here, but we turn it onto the side, and that binding continues with an extra piece. I really like this little thin cream detail. That's repeated on the back, and the back edges are bound also, and the detail at the butt follows that. It's really nice. Two-piece back, two-piece top, not very arched on the back, really, very, very slightly. Really nicely put together instrument. I've had a look inside the sound hole, all neat and tidy in there, pretty much. The other real positive about this is this neck. It's a mahogany neck, with a joint here at the heel and a joint here at the headstock, but it's got a really nice profile. It's got a nice C-shaped chunky profile, which I like, and that nut width is wider than you'll get on a lot of tenors. This is getting close to my Canalea K1 nut width. I find that makes for a really easy playing instrument, particularly on a tenor. People often mistakenly think that it is the scale of the instrument that makes it easier to play in terms of space on the fingerboard. I find that the width of the nut here has much more say in that. The nut, incidentally, is made of bone and is cut really, really well. No deep slots here. Those strings are just resting in well-cut nut grooves, which is nice to see. The frets are nickel silver and some of the best finished fret edges I've seen on a ukulele for some time, certainly up there with the high end. We have outer-facing fret markers in white inlay, and just the one poor solitary side marker for the player, which is better than nothing. But I would have thought, you know, if you're going to put them on on the other frets as well. There we go. That's pleasing to see, actually. But it's a really comfortable and fast-playing neck. I really like it. Going up to the headstock, again, full marks to Kremona for choosing a different shape on the headstock. I love that. I don't know what you describe it as, but it is different. And it's nice not to see that typical Martin three-pointed crown thing going on. If you look closely, the headstock is faced in rosewood, but again, the binding detail continues all the way around the top, which I think is fabulous. The tuners, geared, unbranded, they work just fine. The buttons aren't too large and they don't stick out too much. They look nice. The only thing I would ask is that they're not in gold. I think they're a bit gaudy myself. Silver gears with rosewood tuners I think would look really nice, but I'm nitpicking. Overall, I think it's a fabulous instrument. I think it really does stand out from the crowd. I love that contrast between the top and the back. I love the rosewood. And you know, you turn up at a ukulele club or your local jam and you turn up with one of these, it's going to stand out. But as I always say, looks do not affect the way a ukulele plays or sounds, so it would be a real letdown if this didn't deliver on that front. And thankfully, I think it delivers really well. It's a comfortable uke to hold, it's light, but it's got a really good range, played quietly, but when you can really get some power out of it, so you can strum lightly, but I can strum hard, and it will really bark if you want it to. These are Aquila strings. These are not my favourites. I would be sorely tempted to try some fluorocarbons on this instrument because I think they work better. But it's not my instrument. It's got to go back to the shop, so it's not for me to start fiddling around with that. But I think it sounds good. It's got great projection, for which I suppose a tenor should have, but it really rings. I don't think the sustain is as good on strumming as it is when picking, but that could be down to the Aquila strings. But you know, bags of volume. The strings are clear across the range when strummed. Not got the greatest harmonics akin to, you know, top-end Hawaiian uke, hand-built uke, that kind of thing. But I put this up against the Kala Acacia, which costs about the same, if not a bit more money. I think this wins. I think it wins on looks and things like this funky headstock. You know, I'm just looking at that there in the camera. I think that's wonderful. But it wins on tone too. I think there's something about this neck. It's just kind of really playable. You know where your fingers are going to go. You're not really bumping fingers. It's just a... It's accurate. It's fast. I've just given this a very good score. Read the written review on GotAUkulele. This got 9 out of 10. I think these are well worth checking out. I've not seen too many of these around. I don't know who's stocking them other than Amiga, but I think these could take off. Well worth checking out. The Kremona Coco Tenor. Take care.